Hi everyone, welcome back to the Podsmoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Podsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Hebrew Bible. I use the King James Version of the Christian Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel, which became the Book of Zion. And the Book of Zion, in order to publish it, I had to write the Potsmoker's Bible. And between the Book of Zion and the Potsmoker's Bible, I created the dream that is Zion. And I have inadvertently started a new series on my program, which will be called Stories of Zion, which will simply be me telling little short stories about what I dream that Zion can be. From the prospect of not just myself, because I'm sure there'll be episodes where I'm going to tell you my side of the story, but as in the first episode, which inspired this new series, which was called Camp Out for Karen Comes to Camp. Well, when I told that story, it was, after I watched while I was watching the video, that I came up with the idea of the new series, which is Stories of Zion, or Dreams of Zion. So I'm going to be doing an additional video every day, which is going to be a short story about somebody in or to do with Zion, so that I can tell you parts of the events foretold from a human story perspective. Now, these stories aren't going to be book worthy, because I keep my videos to 15 minutes, because something about that being the necessary timeline for YouTube or something like that. But anyway, since I use this media this way, this is how it will be. So these won't be book worthy short stories. They will just be literally me telling you the basic storyline of a life of a Zionite. Because, oh, I want you to see what I see in my mind. Now, I used to think that my mind was totally blank, that I didn't see anything. Because what I was seeing was my inner landscape. And through that in that inner landscape, I built a dream of Zion. And now that I've built that dream in my own self, within myself, I'm ready to share that dream with the world through these stories. So I'm gonna try to keep. I'm gonna try to tell a little story here. Opening story for 420, and I think I'll call it 420 Camp Out Begins. Um, so let's take a young man. Let's say he's 22 years old, and his college career has been interrupted, and he was studying to be an engineer. And he's a pot smoking hippie, been that way since he was a young teenager, and he totally believes in it. He lives in one of the states where marijuana is illegal, still, like Nebraska. And he hears about Zion and the Camp Out for Freedom, and he knows that that's what he wants to do. So he defies his parents' wishes and leaves home from, let's say, Kentucky. And on 420, he ends up in the panhandle of Nebraska in a long line of campers. And what we do is we all go to North Platte, and we head north from North Platte, and we find the appropriate road that the leaders have determined would be the right place to go. And so we just form a line into this camp. The first car is mine, and because I'm leading this revolution, so to speak. So, but he's in a long line of people coming to Zion. Now, by the time he gets to the gate, it's just been, they set up a car on each side to represent the gate. And now, it's like things have come to a stop as as these cars are one by one brought into the camp. And the camp is very rough. It's just people parking their cars in these little blocked off areas where they're leaving enough room for camp out. So they do a 12 by 12, say 12 foot by 12 foot enclosure, or we'll do 24 foot by 24 foot. But anyway, it's like they start gridding out the camp, and everybody is just told to pitch their tents where their cars are set up. And so and our main character, Jordan, is one of those he's one of the first 100 to be there because he heard about it early and really wanted to do it. Um, he had been, let's say that he had been a protester on the 6th in the Capitol, that he had been one of those that smoked in the Capitol building, but that as he was getting high, he knew that the violence was wrong. And because of everything that happened after that, he converted to Zionism. Because he had heard the crazy story about Zion and her Camp Out for Freedom, but he embraced it now. And so everybody pitches their tent, and then they go to a meeting. Everybody is required to wear a mask. He had been a no-masker up until that point, but when they gave him a mask and told him either you wear the mask or you leave camp, he puts on his mask. And everybody just gathers at the head of the camp where Zion is residing in her tent, or at the head of her tent. And so there's a big group of people, and she's talking, and she's just literally pointing to different areas of the camp and saying, this is where we're going to have the communications tent, and this is where we're going to have the infrastructure tents, and everybody's going to be divided into workstations. So they start organizing the camp. It's like one of the people with Zion, one of the first people to come who were one of the organizers, was a famous person, and we don't know who this famous person is at this point. But they have started putting this all together, and so his turn comes up to say who he is and what he is, and they hear that he's an engineer, and it's like, oh, we don't have any engineers here. You get to be the leader of the guild until such a time as somebody wiser and smarter and older than you gets in, because he's in his 20s. So suddenly he's like, okay, I'm a student of engineering, but I'm leading this engineering guild. And that kind of makes him nervous, but he said, hey, you got a computer? Then we're going to start setting yourself up. What do you need? And we're going to put you over here. So take your car and your tent, and move over there. And everybody who's in engineering is going to be sent to you. So he takes his tent, folds it back up, goes over to where he's supposed to be set up, and he notices that a crew of people are setting up a turbine generator. Not a great big huge one, but one that has been cobbled together from raw materials that are available in the camp. And he kind of, wow, that's trippy. But within a couple of hours, he's like, whoa, they got us some electricity. So he sets up his camp, and he gets on his computer. Thank God it had enough power to last for a little while. and he sets up his little thing about everything that he needs. And he had been given a website address to send his requisition to. And so he sent his requisition off. And then pretty soon, other people that are engineers start coming in. And of course, the first guy that comes in is older than him and has experience. And he's like, okay, this is yours. And thus is born the Engineers Guild. And he spends his days in a camp where each and every person is required to wear masks, where each person is given a specific amount of space within which to build their compounds. They are required first to plant their gardens. Then he and his engineering team, their very first job that they're given is to engineer a septic system for each compound that will use human refuse as fertilizer. And he and his team, within a day, get the specs, cobble together specs for a septic system, which allows each camper to go to the bathroom in the privacy of their own compound and to use that waste to feed themselves. Thus, no sewage. So, the next phase of operations is that they engineer crews to dig out shelters for each compound. So that by the second day of camp, everybody has spread out into their various compound areas, and the guilds are being formed by um, members who are qualified in that profession. So labor is organized within each guild set. Everybody must follow certain rules, and each um, skill set takes on the jobs necessary for the function of the camp, and by extension, the society that it creates. So that each person that comes into the camp is assigned a job by their associated guild that they are required to do for their portion of the proceeds of the nation. So that everybody uses mutual cooperation and necessary skill base to create a society that runs not on wealth and requisition of money, but on the artisanship of professionals who work in tangent with all other professionals in the nation to provide goods and services for the care of the nation, so that all basic needs are met. And then above that, to provide the necessary technology and materials for commerce. Commerce which is based on credit hours, not on money. So that what you buy in camp, you buy with your credit hours from your job in your guild. And if you have to work certain hours to take your portion of the burden of society in order to enjoy the privilege of society. And in so doing, we create a society where every child from birth has the right to follow the profession of their choice to the best of their ability to enrich society as a whole. And we do so with the aliens as our guides. So may the Great watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. And may they teach you right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Choose your guild choice wisely. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Know that I love you all so very much that I'll never say goodbye. so I'll say later now.